All right, Matt and Chris, we're back with another episode of Aftershocks TV right here on the CMS Network. And if you're a fan of the network, you're most certainly a fan and familiar with today's guest, as he's the host of the newest show to the network, Live and Loud with the Lord.
Yeah.
He's also the ex-frontman for rap metal legend Stuck Mojo, and currently, or most recently, he's still making music to this day. He's put out a great new project last year called Plastic Catastrophe. The one and only Lord Nelson's with us today. What's up, Lord?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on, Lord, man. Really appreciate it. And, before we get into talking more about Live and Loud, of course, we want to get to your contributions to the music world first. Like I mentioned, obviously, we're gonna get into a little bit of I guess put the clock back a little bit and talk about some Stuck Mojo here. For those in the audience who aren't familiar with Lord Nelson, the musical artist, man, as I always said, you were sort of like the Brian Johnson of the rap metal world, Lord. You know what I mean? When I heard back in the day there, about 15 years ago now, I can't believe it's been that long, but I remember hearing Mojo was back putting out a new record, and I saw that Bonz, he wasn't going to be involved. And I'm not going to lie, I remember I was pretty skeptical at the time that anyone could replace him because he was obviously original member. He was pretty much 50% of the band other than Rich, So I was a little skeptical at first, but man, once first time I heard Southern Born Killers, I just remember thinking shortly after hearing a couple of the songs, like, yeah, this is going to work, man. This is it, and sure it is. You did it, man. You led the charge on not only that album, but the following album as well in 2008, The Great Revival. Right. Just two excellent records, man, in the band's legacy. So, Lord, why don't you start us off? Let's talk a little bit about, I was always curious just how, how you and Rich initially connected and how you just wound up getting the Stuck Mojo gig initially. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, the beautiful story is that I saw an old friend of mine at a Fishbone, De La Soul, and Goody Mob concert. Okay. I know the odd one, but that's what it was. And so I'm going to the show, and then a guy named Reggie Mickle that Bonz and I graduated with, because Bonz and I, we graduated together. We went to school.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, hey, man, Theron, which is what he said. He's like, Theron is with this band called Stuck Mojo, man. You need to come see him if you get a chance to. And I was like, when is it happening? He was like, it'll be a few weeks. And I was like, I'm there. Because I hadn't seen him since high school. I hadn't seen him. I didn't know he had gone to the Air Force or anything like that. So I came down to the club, and as I'm walking down to the club, I see him. And mind you, I'm in all my preppy attire. I've got on my Tommy Hilfiger shirt and khakis, and I'm just not knowing really what I'm about to get myself into. I had no idea really. So I come down and I see him, and he's got his hair in dreads with it, like devil horns. I'm just like, man, is that him right there? My gosh. And so he looks up and he sees me, and he screams my name so loudly. He's like, oh! And so we just hug it out because I hadn't seen him in so long, and we laugh and we clown, and we go in, and we talk for a while. And then I hadn't met Rich or Frank or Corey or any of them yet. Mm-hmm. And so we talked for a little while. Then he said, hey, man, it's time for me to go up here and get ready to perform. I was like, okay, I'll be right up there up front. So they came out, and here I am walking up. The intro music's coming on. So I walk all the way up to the front of the stage. But I'm the only one there. Nobody else is there but me. And I'm just like, what is going on? I just didn't understand it. I was just like looking back. So they're about, maybe 15, 20 feet behind me. And then all of a sudden they came out. The riffs hit. Boom. They went bananas. I was in a mosh pit. They was knocking me everywhere. And all I did was just smile and laugh. And so that was my introduction to Stuck Mojo. And so, I just told them after the show that, hey, if they ever needed anybody to write for them, anything like that, I'm here for them. So one day Bonz called me, and he was just like, hey, man, I want to get you on this album. And I came down and I did it, and boom. So after that, I didn't know Bonz and Rich were going through whatever they were going through. Mm-hmm. They were having whatever issues they were having. All I know is that I was going to be a part of this amazing, this amazing group on this amazing album. And so I said, hey, man, when am I going to hear the stuff that I was on? Because, we recorded a few songs. He was just like, call Rich. He gave me Rich's number. He said, call Rich and ask Rich. And so I did. And then I left a message for Rich. He got back with me. And then he was like, hey, is the offer still there to, help us write And I was like, of course it is. So I didn't know that he and Bonz were, next thing I know, gone. And so I wrote all these songs, and they were looking for other artists to front the band. I had no idea about that either. So until Rich told me, and then he said, "Hey, would you be interested in fronting the band?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, So I had to think about it for a while, and then, I had my powwow with God and family and all kinds of other people, and they were just like, "This is like an opportunity of a lifetime." You've been doing music for so long, then all of a sudden this is placed there. So really, Bonz brought me to Stuck Mojo. He brought me, and even through all this stuff, and Bonz and I have never been mad with each other at all. And he was just like, "Hey, I brought you to this." And so I thank him. He's the reason that I'm able to still continue to do the things that I'm doing today.
Sure. Did he bring you, I know he brought you to Mojo, but did he bring you to metal as well? Or were you already sort of a metalhead and Mojo was just another metal thing?
I'm going to say he brought me to metal. Now, of course, I listened to, your Def Leopards and your Iron Maidens. And I listen I listen to metal music because I'm a military kid. So I've listened to everything. But to, immersed in it like that, it was like a new experience. And so that first, after the first album, Rich just let me really go wild on Southern Born Killers. He was just like, just do you. The writing was so easy for me. It was nothing. I love music. So it was nothing. I just love music. So we got into it. But yes, I just watched and listened, especially that first tour. I'm just like, man, let me see what's going on, man. This is a different world. So, because some of the venues that we played in was just different. Coming from a hip hop thing that I was doing rapping and stuff like that, we still played clubs, but this was just different. But hey, man, I just had a great time, and I just took advantage of the situation.
Sure, man. Well, I mean, how much pressure was it too? I mean, let's put it this way: how much pressure did you put on yourself as well? I mean, not only to follow a guy like Bonz, but you also, obviously, like you said, you knew him, so it wasn't someone that was just foreign to you. But also knowing the band's legacy and how vital he was to it as an original member and a guy that was beloved by the fan base. And like I said, someone like myself always thought that, Stuck Mojo without him wouldn't be Stuck Mojo. So how much pressure did you feel like on that first record, just, on Southern Born Killers, knowing you're replacing a legendary guy like that?
So the honest truth is, and I'm always going to be honest with you, really wasn't a whole lot of pressure because I knew there was no way I could be him. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds at the time. There's no way I'm running around, jumping around like Bonz. And I watched all, and I knew that our styles were really different. Mine is, I don't know, maybe I've got a more melodic type style, even though, deeper voice in a sense. There really wasn't any pressure. And just like I told everybody, I said, I'm just going to do me and let the chips fall where they may. And I had other people even tell me that also. They was just like, you just got to be you. And that's what I've always done. I'm pretty confident in who I am. So it wasn't a lot of pressure. I did want it to work now, of course. I wanted everything to, but once I heard the music and how Rich told me he was going to change everything more to fit me and who I was. So they had already started on that album, and I really didn't know they had already started on the Southern Born Killers album when he came to me. So he said, hey, I'm just going to kind of rework stuff for you, for your voice. And so it was easy. The process was easy. It was so easy to work with Rich. I just did my thing. I was excited, and I had that turbo boost in me, man. They were punching the gas, man. I was on it. I was just ready.
Well, no, I mean, and that must have been pretty challenging too, because like you said, the band at that point too had been, I think, dormant for about 5 or 6 years. Right. Looked like they might have been over. Really, I thought they were done. And I know that towards the end of your tenure with the band, I know Rich, he really obviously started putting most of his energy, I guess, into Fozzy.
Right.
And I know at that time, I mean, they wound up signing a good deal, and they sold, I think, 100,000 plus copies of their previous record. So I'd have to think, though, for you too, it must have been kind of. Now, here it is. You got this great opportunity. You put out 2 really awesome records. And then, it had to be, I would think, frustrating knowing that you successfully replaced a major piece of the original band. Huge challenge that you accomplished. But the guy who owns the band, he writes the music. Obviously, now he's got other musical commitments that are more important, more lucrative, or whatever. Obviously, like I said, it was an enormous opportunity for you. But at the same time, after seizing that moment, now all of a sudden, boom, you find your groove, and now it's comes to a complete halt. How frustrating, was that for you too? Once the band kind of dissolved again and Rich went his way?
Once again, it really wasn't frustrating, I guess, because I had a job.
Okay.
You know? And when you're working, it wasn't stressing me out because I knew what I was coming back to. If it, it'd be different if I had quit my job and I was just out there. But I met so many great people through music. So I started working on some things, doing, some solo stuff. And then, the band Lies wanted me to get on a track with them. And so I was like, of course, that because we just had a great time touring with them. So I said, not a problem at all. And then they were like, hey, and then I said, hey, well, why don't you put this on the project that I'm working on? And so it changed from me being on a Lies project to a Lord Nelson featuring Lies. And they played the music. I did a few shows overseas, and that album was an amazing album. We had so much fun with it, and people were like, "Hey, that's Lord Nelson from Stuck Mojo." A lot of times, and I thank Chris and Joshua Toomey and a lot of you other guys for saying like, "Hey, man, you were Corey Lowry." They were like, "You were the front for Stuck Mojo," because I kind of was just like, "Yeah, I know I was, but I want to do this right here. This is me here." But it really wasn't that frustrating, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Just a little disappointing because I wish that it would have went down a different way, the way, that it was told to me.
Okay.
Other than that, and I really have no problems because I understand what Rich was doing. I understand where he was going. Chris is this mega star, and he's got to live and pay his bills too, and all those kind of things like that. So I was just like, it's all love with me, man. It's no worries.
Right on, man.
Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl, cover male, but there's no word. Now, Europe, this is Lord Nelson from Stuck Mojo. Every time we're here, we enjoy it so much. I'm getting close to the camera because I'm hyped up, I'm geeked up like Steve Urkel. Can't wait to see you guys again. Come check us out. Come support us. We love you. Thank you so much. Peace.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, dude, and I've told you this before. I saw you with Mojo. I saw Bonz 100 times with Mojo. I mean, it's a weird thing to try to explain to people that didn't see both, because if you saw the Bonz era stuff,
right,
that was just a whirlwind of violence for the audience. For the audience, it was just straight up violence. You had such a different approach,
right,
that it was still, the pits were still vicious as hell,
right,
but it was a different, like Bonz creates frenzy. You command the stage, and it was a very different dynamic, like where Bonz would be jumping around and be like, get up, you would just get up there and you'd give that fucking mean look, and everybody would be like, bah! And go crazy in there. Were you comfortable? I'm sure you were, but how comfortable were you to come out and not try to be that on stage, to be yourself instead of being the perception of what Stuck Mojo was prior to when you got there?
I just don't think that I would have been able to do that. I just, when I and I'll be honest with you, I studied it. I looked at Bonz. I looked at a whole lot of stuff that he was doing, but I was just like, there's no way that I'm doing any of that. I can't. Now, I might have tried to do this or that here, but I just wanted to make it my own. I just wanted to make it my own, but still be in the vein of greatness of what Stuck Mojo was. I still wanted it to be that. And so Simon, who shot Open Season, he's from England. He was just like, Lord, man, you just have a presence about you. He said, the rest of those guys are jumping around and acting a fool he said, they're doing that. He said, all you got to do is just go up there and be your big medicine self right there. And he said, and it's going to work. So I took heed to that. And I just really just did me, man. I looked at a lot of things that a lot of people were doing, and I tried to incorporate certain things, certain things I might say, but I really just went up there and just did Lord Nelson. I took Rich gave me that name, Lord Nelson, and I embraced it. And every time I walked on that stage, I had butterflies every time before I stepped on that stage. But as soon as I walked one foot on that stage and I just put my hands out like this, I just felt like the world was mine and the crowd was going. And also, it didn't matter. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, and the interesting thing, and I'm going to make an assumption. You can tell me I'm crazy because because I might be. But I think what helped you get established with Southern Born Killers is the messaging. And that I know came in large part from you. But clearly at that time, everybody was pissed off. Everybody was, was mad about 9/11. That's just the way it was. And I think if you guys would have done a more angry, all the other Stuck Mojo records, Rising or Declaration or whatever, they're angry, but they're not necessarily pointed.
Right.
I think what helped you guys with Southern Born Killers was that was such a pointed record at the exact feeling of the country. And I mean, I've told you this before, dude. Open Season is quite literally how I felt on 9/11. It was or 9/12. I mean, if you took the motherfucker and I was given to Osama bin Laden and whatnot in my house, turn it into a song, it's Open Season.
Right.
I mean, but I think that as well as the fact that, and I think this is still a brilliant move that Rich did. I think you combine that emotion and you combine the fact that he put it out there for a while free. Just said, okay, here's the new singer. If you don't like it, well, then you don't lose anything. And I remember when he did that, he was like, if you don't like it, you didn't lose anything. So just try it.
Right.
I think the combination of the two really helped you gain acceptance quick because nobody felt like they had to invest in you right away. They just heard you instead of saying, well, fuck, I just wasted $15. This guy's terrible. Or what, if that's what they thought.
Right.
For you personally, did you look at it that way, or do you now look at it that way looking back? Because I'm sure at the time you were just like, hey, this is great, but now that you look back, do you see that those were like kind of pivotally good moves for yourself and from Rich?
Yeah. When you say that, I'm just like, I'm listening to you in that perspective. I never really looked at it like that, but I just knew that I was in a great situation. Because, just looking at videos and looking at, Bonz performances and looking at the love of the fans, I was just like, man, it's going to be a great situation. So when I went out there, I was comfortable already. And mind you, now I spoke with Rich and all the guys, and I listened to them a lot to just try to learn some things about how are we vibing here? Who's this? I asked a lot of questions also because I wanted it to be great. But man, I just got up there and just did my thing, man. And I was just thankful and grateful that it was happening because I go with the flow. I'm a go with the flow person, not unless it's something super crazy to me. If it's something super crazy to me now, I might step to the left and you're like, what the hell just happened? But other than that, the music was so great and the vibe was so good. Man, there was nothing going to stop that. It really wasn't. And when he brought Open Season to me, and they came up to my house and they played that and they said, like, this is kind of what we want to talk about. They had certain things that they wanted to say within it. And they were like, just put your stuff with this also. And so by the time that they did that and they went back to Atlanta, I was done. I had already written that song. It was nothing to it. Way before they got back, I had already written it. And I was just like, man, this sitar in here and everything, man, this is just too crazy. This is just unbelievable. And I had so many people who were like, this song is amazing. So it captured a lot of people. It really did.
No, it definitely did, man. You brought up something before. I'm going to go to now I'm going to pivot to your post-Stuck Mojo career there. Like you said, you released a solo album with the French band Lies, Fight My Struggle Between Heaven and Hell.
Yes, sir.
Man, yeah, I mean, excellent record, man. It's a little heavier and darker, I think, in Stuck Mojo on that with that band. Similar groove metal riffs, very similar, but definitely its own thing. And like you said, you alluded to before, it's you guys, I guess, had toured with them in Europe. So yeah, so I mean, talk about how that record, came about. Because my thing is, if that album came out today, I think it would be so well received, more than it probably was then. Just because also now this music, this rap metal music, there's a nostalgic thing to it now. It's popular again. And I think that record, unfortunately, I think it's probably the timing thing because it got a little overlooked. But that's a kick-ass record, man. Talk about that record a little bit.
You listen. I got chills when you said that. I have a really good friend, and I call him Cabo San because his name is Lucas. But he told me the same thing. He was like, if this would have been released at this time, he was like, man, do you not know? But it was just the vibe that I had. I just vibed with Sebastian so well. He was just like working with Rich again. Mm-hmm. Every time he sent me music, it was just so easy to write to, and he understood, the vibe. And he was just like, hey, this is what I have. This is what. So we rolled with it. We signed with M&O Records, which was, Plastic Catastrophe, Lord knows with now, French label. But it was so easy. We did that. We did a few shows in Paris. We opened up for Skindred, and in Spain we did a few shows. It was just a great vibe, man. But it was hard with them being in France and me being here. Sure. So that was a difficult thing also. Sure. So, but that album was amazing, and that entire album was me going through some things. I was going through some things, and Chris, you know how when you write your books, and I was going through some things, personally, and so a lot of people, when they heard it, they got it because it's like the start to the end. I start in a certain place, and then I end up, where I'm back, and I'm back again. I'm feeling better. I'm good to go. And a lot of people who really took the time to listen, they got it. I had so many people saying, "Hey, Lord, I got the message. I got it," and it was love to me. And I was like, I'm really glad.
They claim I'm insane and profane, and it's just a shame the way I use the Lord's name in vain. Like their opinion means a fucking thing to a dude who's gonna bring the motherfucking pain. I go against the grain with passion, attitude clashing with those who swear they know me well, swearing that I'm recklessly driving, slipping and sliding on a razor blade straight to hell. Fuck 'em. Possessed by the music, about to lose it, mean mark in the human race. Got an appetite for destruction on Joe Productions. Don't you see the smile on my face, bitches?
Awesome, yeah. Well, I think your best performance, I think that you've ever done is on the song on that album, the song Tonight. I think to me that music and that record, I think, really allowed you to do things vocally that maybe you didn't even, for one, maybe you didn't know you could do, and two, you wouldn't have probably even tried on the Stuck Mojo record, because it seems like in Stuck Mojo, I think you were there obviously to do a specific, I think, thing, especially I think on the second record. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the Fight record, you were really able, I think, just to let loose and do what you wanted to do and showcase what you can do as a vocalist. Would you say that's correct?
You are 100% correct. I was so free. Another one of my guys, Ant Benson, he was just like, man, you need to do more of this. You need to do, he's just like, let yourself go. He's like, you're free to do whatever you want to do. And I was like, I am. So, and even Sebastian, he was just like, man, he said, you hit all these songs in such a different way. And I said, I just vibe to the song. It's however the song makes me feel. And I said, that's when I start writing, and that's what goes in my head. I started humming and I'm a melody guy. So when it hits me, I just start writing, man. And that came about so easily. I mean, so easily. Sebastian is an unbelievable. All the guys in the band, were amazing guys, and they still are. And Sebastian and I did a little something again. I'm always working on music, man.
Well, at that time too, I mean, Lord, I mean, here it is. You've been on 2 Stuck Mojo records. You got this really great, solo record you did. Were you at all holding out hope that, maybe to get that call from Rich to do another Stuck Mojo record? Or were you simply just like, like you said, you're kind of a go with the flow guy. So like you said, were you just focused on looking and just doing whatever kind of opportunities came your way? What was going through your mind at that time?
After, I did 2, like I told my wife, I said, I did 2 albums with Stuck Mojo. I saw what was going on. I saw how things were. And it wasn't it wasn't a big thing to me. We did talk about doing a few things, We talked about going to Australia. We talked about touring with Guar. We talked about going to South Africa. But those things never panned out. And it wasn't a problem, though. It wasn't a problem. I just had a different perspective and mindset. And I kind of saw that, where Rich's focus was. And it was really on the Fozzy stuff. Now, he really asked me also to be in, Guardians of the Jukebox also.
Okay.
But I was busy. I'd already moved on to doing other things. And I told him, I thank him very much. But, I was, I didn't have time to really do that because I was really focused on doing my solo stuff and just enjoying myself, doing some EDM stuff. I was just everywhere. But it's all thanks to Bonz bringing me, Rich seeing my talent, me seeing the world and all this different music around the world. Man, I was inundated with so much, man. I was just like, man, I'm sitting here just laying back floating, man. I was just good. And I'm still good to this day. I'm just that guy. I just really don't worry about a whole lot of things. If things are not, if I can't control them, I'm not going to worry about them. Not let them affecting me. I can't control anybody else doing what they're doing. So I just move over here to handle my own business. I'm the king of my castle. I'm the Lord.
There you go.
of my castle. That's what I do. It's all love, man. It really is.
Right on, man. Well, dude, moving to where we're at today, where I'm going to go a little bit back to 2020, you put out the Fire Starters with Plastic Catastrophe, and I love it. Everything that I've been told is one of the best tunes I think that you've done. I absolutely love that whole lyrical, everything you touch doesn't turn to gold. That whole thing. But what I think I like most about that release, as well as the one that maybe I'm not even supposed to admit that I've heard, but I have, I like that you believe it. Well, I like that you have a different, you've developed your sound, and your sound is different. Your sound is definitely different with this than with Lies or with Mojo. You're doing different stuff purposely. Talk a little bit about not relying on your past and actually continuing to grow, even though in some cases that might hurt you, because people are going to listen to Plastic Catastrophe and the first thing they're going to say is, doesn't sound like Stuck Mojo. That's just the fact of the matter. For you, talk a little bit about just saying, fuck it, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I do.
Man, that's a great question. That's a great question. Listen, once again, with Matt Acevedo, love Matt Acevedo. So he is the guy behind all of this music. He's another big Stuck Mojo fan. He's a giant Stuck Mojo fan. And so, of course, he hit me with a song, and he said he had hit me earlier and I didn't get back with him. I told him I would listen to a song, but maybe I was doing stuff with Lies and I just didn't get back to it. But that's not what I do. But anyway, his wife told him, she said, send him another song. So he sent me another song, and that song is the first single that we put was Action off of the Fire Starters.
Right.
We did that, and I wrote that song. It was another Rich and Sebastian situation. Man, we did that album so quickly. He sent me music, and I just went to writing, and it was like, bam. He's like, you finished? I was like, yes. He was like, I don't want to bombard you with too much music. I was like, please keep sending me music. I've got to record another song right now, to be honest with you. that I already wrote to right when he sent me. But when he sent me that, the vibe was so cool. And I just wanted to be me. Just once again, Chris, like I said, it was all about the music. The music drives me. The music takes me to wherever I'm going to be. So I've got a country song. I've got a few country songs that I've written. I've got a lot of stuff. But I'm just saying it's the vibe of whatever it is that takes me there. So it's not me trying to be like this or that, because Rich could have written the heaviest, Stuck Mojo song ever. I'm just going to vibe to what the music is, and I'm just going to let it flow from me. And that's just what I do. I don't even look at trying to be this or that. I just make whatever that music is. I let the music drive me every single time.
What I spit in your ear hole.
Now, you know, one of the interesting things for me, just as a listener, for fire starters, was the choice to release as a kind of single, or at least a YouTube single, Never Should I, which to me, if I was releasing singles off that record, would have been like 10th or 11th. There's just so many songs that were different from that one. Right. I mean, I probably would have gone with like Throwdown or something like that. Why did you guys choose Never Should I, which is really kind of an oddball track on that release?
Well, Never Should I. Now you're saying we released Action first. Action
right
first. Now I have made many like videos out there with songs, but Should I came from this right here. So when so now I'm with Stuck Mojo. I got a lot of metal fans and people that know me for that. Let's say that. So I did an EDM song called Breathe. So I wanted to put that song out, but I know I had a lot of metal fans, and I just didn't think that they would, you know, listen to feel that. So I wasn't going to let them hear it. Then somebody was told me, like, no, just put it out there. And then all of a sudden, so many of those metal fans, after they listened to it and caught the vibe of it, they were like, that changed my life. I needed that today. That helped me out today. That was so inspirational to me. And so now when I get with Plastic Catastrophe and I hear the music with that Never Should I, that was about the EDM song. So never should I judge a book by its cover. Never should I, because I could be wrong. So I was wrong about the metal fans. I was overthinking that, because music is universal and people love music. And if it touches them, it's going to be something good. So that's why that song came to be, man. So it's probably important to me and the messaging of it, you know, that I would hope that people, you know, really understand and get into. So that's what was going on with that, man. It's just wow.
Hell yeah. Well, Lord, like I was saying before, man, you know, rap metal, new metal, whatever you want to call it, you know, it's back. You know, it really is back. Like we've seen recently. I mean, Limp Bizkit played Madison Square Garden. Rage Against the Machine, they're out there touring now the first time in 10 plus years. You know, so obviously this music now that a lot of people thought might have been, you know, this style of music, I should say, might have been sort of like just dead in the past. Like I said, there is this renaissance now of this type of music. So now as a guy who's, you know, you've proven your chops, everyone knows who you are within the scene and within the genre. I mean, this probably is a good time for you to do, whether it's with Plastic Catastrophe, whoever, this is a good time to really take advantage of that and you know, enjoy this sort of resurgence of this type of music. So have you noticed, are you getting, you know, any sort of, I guess, you know, anyone calling you up going, yo, you want to be on my record, or do you want to do, are you getting a lot of offers, I should say, now that this music is sort of back in? And
I've had certain people reach out to me about doing certain things, you know, I'm just in a different place right now mentally. So I don't go out and just do anything. I used to just, man, if somebody hit me up, I was going to I'd write and get on a record. And then, you know, my wife was like, you know, it's time to handle some business. She's like, hey, man, come on, man. And then she's just like, I know you love it so much. She's like, but now it's time to look in a different way. And of course, I'm older now, so I do look at it in a different light. Yeah. But as Chris, you know, I let Chris hear some things, and we're really working on making this next album, Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson. We want to make it the best that it can be.
Okay.
The hardest thing about it is that getting out there, are we going to put it out by ourselves again? Are we going to do M&O? Are we looking for a bigger label? And, you know, I've done all this stuff of putting stuff out. I want to get on that next level, man. You know, I want that. And I don't know, maybe it's the big label that's going to do that. So it's like, if I can get to those guys and they can see the vision that we have and they can get behind it and push it, man, I'm ready to lose my mind. You know, I really am. But you know, I'll go back to say something. Like when we toured with Volbeat with Stuck Mojo, and we really that tour was amazing to have every single show sold out, and to have the Volbeat guys. Jan, the drummer, came up to me during the last show in Osnabrück, Germany. He pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, man, I just want you to know you guys made us work so hard every night. Now, they were the headliners, most definitely. But by that third song, I always like to say this story, but by that third song, we had them. Those people were just like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And so we got people that were really showing us love. So myself and Sean Delson and Frank was there. Was Frank there on that tour? Little Steve was. Anyway, we just thought that it was about to go to another place. And then it was just, then things just got kind of quiet. So, me, I was just like, everybody, you just don't know all the people that my people were like, what's going on? What's happening? I was just like, whatever it is what it is. I was like, I'm good. And I always tell people I am good. So I'm just working on the Plastic Catastrophe stuff right now. I'm never above anybody approaching me and asking me about doing some music because I love music like that. But Matt and I we're in the trenches, we're doing things, and he's constantly sending me stuff. And Chris, I know you were speaking about some cover stuff. You said you don't like cover stuff too much. But
yeah, not really.
but I've done some things that are kind of different from some cover stuff. I have to send you some stuff. It's really different. It might pique you. You might be like, wait a minute, this is a little different. Because when I was at Scott's show, I talked to Sergio Vega about it. And he's like, hey man. So I was just like, okay, it might be a great idea. But anyway, now man, the music is just love. I'm having a ball. We're working on this new project. And I'm having so much fun. I'm having such a great time doing the podcast. Chris, thank you again. I'm having a ball, man. And, I was just at my niece's wedding, and to hear my family members, even my dad. My dad's a bishop. My dad is 8 years old. He'll be 81 this year. He's just like laughing and clowning. And, the Lord, Nelson, that is, and his wife, they watch the show still.
Nice.
Up, man. I'm having a ball.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get to it. Live and Loud with the Lord, and it's, Lord, I do tell Chris all the time, man, what a great addition that he made with bringing you onto the network, man. It's not only because obviously I've been a fan of your music over the years, but it's also not because you're an entertaining figure, but also it's informative, and you get some really, really unique guests on there. Right. That normally sometimes, whether it's inside or outside the music world, which is cool. So go ahead, man. Tell the audience about Live and Loud and why people need to tune in every Saturday on the CMS Network to hear the latest episode.
Yeah. Of course, Chris brought me on after I had a great conversation with him. I don't like to say I'm interviewing people. I like to say I'm having a conversation with them. I just want to make everybody comfortable and just have a conversation about who they are and what they're doing. And yeah, I still want it to be about the music, but as I've said before, I'm on the no genre snobbing, no genre snobbing on Live and Loud with the Lord. I want everybody and anybody who can come, just as long as it has a little bit to do with music, at least has to have something to do with music. And I just want to have fun with it. I've gone out there and I've reached out to so many people. Once again, thanks to Josh, thanks to Chris, thanks to Scott and Corey Lowry, I'm not hampering myself by saying, oh, I don't want to talk to this person. I don't want to talk to this person. No, I'm talking to everybody. I want to bring people on there who are entertaining. And like Dot Stein is the one right now, Dr. Dot Stein. And I know this is a longer one, conversation with Dr. Dot Stein, but I'm telling you, she is so hilarious and has so many stories about so many of the biggest rock stars that we've known, and her giving massages and biting them and all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. I sat there and laughed. She almost took over the show for a while. I had to get it back. But it was amazing. So I have those kind of people that are coming to the show, and I'm glad. And I know Chris was like, hey, if you need this person and need this person, and I don't want to, go that route. Not yet, not unless I really need it. But I know it's a great thing to know that you guys are such professionals at what you do, and I have the utmost respect for you, and really I pay attention to what you're doing also, because I want to be better at what I do also. So it's just been love. And this, Chris, thank you for the platform, man. I'm having a ball, man. I love to run my mouth, as you can tell, but man, I love to listen too. I love to listen to you got something to say, and that's my enjoyment. I have a Stony Skull. She's she's oh man, she's just different. It's kind of like punk music. And Chris, you know what I'm talking about. It's different, but every time that I hear her music, I smile because it's more than just her music; it's her. It's just weird to me, man, but it makes me feel good. So
sure,
got a lot of dope people coming on, man, and I'm just having a great time with it, man. So thank you guys, definitely.
Well, you know, and I told you this when you and I first started talking about you coming on the show or on the network. And Matt and I talk about pretty much every move that happens on the CMS network. I mean, Matt's definitely my right-hand guy to help keep me in line because I tend to go way too far every direction, way too often. But the reason, and I don't know if I ever even told you this, but it is the truth. The reason I wanted to have you on the show, we get people that want to come on the network a lot. A lot of people, and let's just be honest, why? It's because the CMS has a big audience and everybody wants to glom on the CMS's audience. And I get that. But I didn't want to bring on just every podcast. I wanted podcasts, I wanted shows that have a different vibe.
Right.
And your show has such a different vibe. There's nobody that's going to say, is this Live and Loud of the Lord with the Lord, or is this Chris Hagan Presents, or is this after? You're just not going to mistake the two shows because we all have a different style.
Yes.
And what I think works the best with Live and Loud with the Lord, I don't know why I keep saying at the Lord, with the Lord, is I think you're unlike when I do a show. When I do a show, whoever I'm interviewing is the star.
Right.
When you're doing your show, you're the star. And I think that. I definitely think that. I think people are watching for you.
Okay.
And they're like, if I would have had the Lavender guy, what's his name? Adam Lavender.
Yeah.
If I would have had that guy on, I would have had 16 plays, maybe. Nobody would have watched it. Nobody would have, because they'd have been like, I don't give a shit about Knife Guy, you know. That's just the way it would have been. But because you bring that charisma to that, I sat there and watched the whole thing. It was like, I never knew this about, you know, blacksmithing. I didn't know anything about blacksmithing.
Right.
And I think that's what you bring is, even I'll just tell you, 4 a.m. last night, I'm up all fucking night watching the mic stand guy, Brad Lux. I'm watching that as I'm cutting it up and getting it ready for programming. And it's like, all right, this guy makes mic stands. Generally, you know, I have my mic stand. He didn't make it. So, you know, I don't really need to know what Brad Lux has to say, but it was such a compelling talk.
Right.
And that comes from you having that energy. You know, you bring that positivity, and I think that is what makes your show stand out as very unique, not just on our network, but just in general to podcasting. Yeah. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm just being me. I have been freed. You know, you have allowed me to be free. Because I was doing one with my son at first. And my son, he's just kind of busy, you know, the Going In podcast, what we had. And we were bringing people, but I was just like, telling my son, I was like, hey, man, I need you to be on this. I said, because you're a super handsome guy. Women love you. I said, do you know how many put the time in? And I'm not disrespecting him at all, because that's my prince. But I was just like, put the time in. Do you know what could happen for you? You know, because he's 6'6". Listen. But so I told him, I said, hey, man, well, I'm going to create another podcast.
Right.
To talk about music and the things that I know. Because I love music. They love music, but I really love music. So, yeah, man, what you're saying, man, I'm just having fun. I just feel so free. And the thing is you guys already have it down. I could bring 30 metal people on there, but you guys you have it. I'm not going to do better than you guys. You guys already know the ins and outs. I learned so much about artists listening to you guys and the way that you run it off. You're just like, hey, well, you know, you were doing this and doing that. And I'm sitting there like, wow, you know, I wouldn't have known that. I couldn't have had that conversation with them. Now I go do my research on my guests, of course, but you guys are so good at what you do that I just said, like, I'm just going to be free to do me, Chris has given me this platform, and I'm going to enjoy every moment of it I can, as long as I can. It's just a great thing for me. And the majority of my people are like, wow, we're just enjoying, you know.
Nice.
Right on. Certainly, man. And you know, what for me personally, I mean, I watch it every week just because of the fact that I don't know any of these guys really. You know, honestly, I mean, and I think that is the telltale of a compelling show, and more of a show is, you know, I mean, anybody could interview James Hetfield. Let's be honest. That's I know people would love to do it, and every interviewer in the world says, yeah, I'd love to interview James Hetfield.
Right.
But what are you going to learn? You ain't going to learn nothing. You know, I mean, if you interview Rob Halford, you're going to hear the same questions that the last 50 years of people have asked Rob Halford.
Right.
I'm learning all these new people that I don't know, and even people that I do know. You know, I've interviewed Benji before from Skindred.
Mm-hmm.
I've interviewed him a few times before, but I didn't know any of the stuff that you guys talked about because you have a unique place. And this is what I want the listeners, watchers, whatever, to get. When you do interview bands, you have a unique perspective with them. It's not just, hey, I heard your record. It's cool. I like it. You know, with Benji, with Tommy from Ectomorph, the one that's coming up.
Right.
You know, you've toured with these guys. You have that. You don't just have the, hey, I love the Ectomorph stuff and Zoltan is God and blah, blah, blah. You literally have the, you know, we were backstage in Germany and you were drinking a Coke and I was eating a sandwich and, you know, and you can relate on a different level that tells the story that I think a lot of people want to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is they want to hear the behind the curtain stuff.
Yeah. And that story that you're speaking about was an amazing conversation. Now here I am, you know, I always say I'm a cornball. Of course I'm not a cornball, but I'm just like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm straight edge as can be. I'm there in a room, in the green room after the show, and everybody's in there and everybody is doing everything that you can think of. And it's just like, man, oh man, it's like a fire in there, smoke is everywhere, and I'm just in there. And everybody's like, you had to be buzzed. I was like, no. As my boy Joel told me, he said, you're 6'5", you're already hot. That's what I go with. so he just came to me. He's like, Lord, can I talk to you? And I was like, of course. And he just bared his soul. He just bared his soul and talked about so much stuff that, you know, it might have made some people uncomfortable, but I was just listening. I just like, been on tour for a whole month together, man. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about, man? And I enjoyed it. We had a great conversation and we kept in touch over the years, you know. I've tried to get Zoli on. Because Zoli and we really hung out a lot during that tour. You know, frontmen hanging out. We talked about so much stuff. And you know, it'd be great to have them on. And that's why I got on the song with them, you know, Sick of It All. You know, with I love that song. And for people to come tell me that, hey, that was the best song on that album. You know, I smile. Inside, I'm jumping up and doing flips. You'll never know. I'm just like, yeah. But, you know, on the outside, I was like, yeah, that was cool, man. It was cool. I had a good time. So me doing those things and hanging out with those people, trying to get my Vengeance people on from Napa, California that we toured with also. Relentless and I are just real cool. Like, they're my brothers also. I want to talk to these people because they really have interesting stories. Everybody has a story. Both of you have a story. Everybody has a story. And I like to learn more about the people. So when you said that I'm the star of it, I do my best to make them the star of it and whatever we're talking about, because it's all about you. And once again, I'm out like crazy because I could talk. But it's all love.
It's all good, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no question, man. Well, here's the fanboy in me. When are we getting the Bonz on? When are we getting the Bonz episode?
As soon as Bonz gets, listen, I give people 2 chances. This is me. I'm gonna ask you twice.
Right.
Now, Bonz, I've asked you a few times because that's my man. That's my guy. And he's like, I promise I'm gonna get with you. And okay, so I don't know what's going on in his world right now. I'm sure he's handling business with he and his wife, and they're doing whatever they're doing. But whenever he's ready to come on, I'm ready for him. But to be honest with you, I want to bring Mike Martin back on because Mike was on my Going In podcast, and we talked for a long time, but it was so good. That was like one of the best ones on the Going In podcast. Now, I know if I bring him back over here to the metal world or to, this platform, it'll do well also. So Mike is one of my guys. I had so much fun with him, but I've asked Rich, I've asked Sean, I've asked Bonz, and Corey did, what we got to do, Chris? We got to take that Corey one that I did and bring it back on,
okay,
and put it out there, because the Corey one was good and long and beautiful. Corey Lowry, amazing guy. But Rich, I'm not going to stress those guys. I love them.
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
It's all beautiful. I just want to have good conversation, and we don't have to. I don't ever want to get into anything too deep, political, this side or that side. I just want to have some entertaining things, and sometimes it's going to be educating. Informative. I just want to have a good time with whoever is on there. That's it. I want to have a good time with you. Yes,
right on, man. Awesome. Well, dude, obviously Live and Loud with the Lord, it is on the CMS Network. It is on comes out every Saturday, and it's also on Wednesdays. The condensed version is on Wednesdays over at Heavy Metal Television.
Yeah.
So where would you like us to direct people to go other than the CMS Network to keep up with you and to buy some merch and to do all that kind of stuff?
Listen, it's Lord, all on Instagram. I do a lot of stuff on Instagram. But if they want to, I don't know, man. I like the fact that they can come to the CMS Network and do what you do. I want them to come there because I want them to see that the platform is an amazing platform for every show that's on there. Because every show is great. But, Lords and Legends on Instagram. I have Lords of House on Instagram. I have Live and Loud with the Lord on Instagram. It's Lloyd Nelson on Facebook, because you know how Facebook won't let you do the Lord.
Right.
They took it away, and I was like, you clowns. But also Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson is on Facebook also, and on Instagram. And, I'm actually everywhere. I'm everywhere on everything. And it's just love, man. It's just love. And I want people to continue to support, and I thank them because, getting a lot of love, and I really, really appreciate it. But just looking for, I think Matt and I are looking for a great label for this next project, and it's going to be
nice.
Hell yeah.
Well,
nice.
and if I can throw just another quick plug of a place that you can catch Live and Loud with the Lord, as well as Aftershocks, as well as Chris Aiken presents Roku. Everybody should be on the Rokus as well. There is a channel for Live and Loud with the Lord. There is a channel for CMS, and there is a channel for Aftershocks TV as well. So if you want it on your TV and you don't want to have to finagle to get it, there's each of us have a channel there as well. So go there as well.
Hello.
And Lord, dude, this has been fun, man. It's always great having you here on Aftershocks or Chris Aiken Presents, or just on the network in general.
Hey, anytime you guys need me, I'm good to go, man. Anytime love, man. It really is. I'm having a ball. Thank you again. Thank you guys, man. I really, really appreciate it. Seriously.
Oh, of course, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man.